long time. Mainly I do it all on the podcast channel, but hey, welcome to HBRV Lifestyle. They call me the Honey Badger because I give it to you straight and transparent about the RV business. And today we have a lot to cover. I have some emails that I've read through that I want to cover, mainly about Brinkley RV, mainly about basically we need to clear the air about what is really going on at Brinkley RV with all these major problems that have been popping up. Ever since I did my video at the beginning of this month talking about the cracking in the sidewall, it's sort of opened up a can of worms where I've had a lot of Brinkley RV consumers, people that are owners of Brinkley RV, emailing me in complete anonymity, basically anonymously. I mean, I know their names, but I'm not going to mention their names. And they're talking about a bigger problem than just the cracking in the sidewall. A lot of them are very upset that they also have been dealing with braking problems, axle issues, electrical problems. Now, a lot of that, as I've responded to a lot of these emails to folks, a lot of that problem stems not just from Brinkley RV, but a couple of other fifth wheel brands as well. So what I want to do is clear the air all about this. I want to put basically the facts on the table and let you, the RV community, decide what the verdict is. Okay. Now, first off, I did get some questions about why am I upset with some of these corporate RV dealership YouTubers. I'm going to get into that as we go along. Okay. So let's go over the facts. Fact number one is Brinkley RV decided to introduce a braking system, basically trying to develop a bigger, better way of sales trainer, okay? A bigger, better way of stopping these massive, heavy fifth wheels. If we go back to the Grand Design frame failure, frame flex situation, there's a lot of things from that Brinkley has taken into account, I guess you could say. Lux, Mobile Suites, Riverstone fifth wheels all use the same braking system that Brinkley uses. So in essence, it's not just a Brinkley problem. Now, that being said, the axle issues, the electrical issues when it comes to the braking and the stopping of the RV, Brinkley did choose to work with that OEM. They decided to work with that particular vendor. Hello, Paula. So since Brinkley RV did decide that they wanted to work with that vendor and still to this day continue to work with that vendor, then yes, Brinkley RV does deserve some blame for all the issues that these people are having when it comes to the basic towing of their vehicles. Okay, and I'm gonna defend Brinkley in a little bit, so bear with me. All the fanboys, all the corporate guys, hold the phone. We do have a defense for Brinkley in a minute, but I just want to point out it's not just a Brinkley RV problem. Okay, this is a problem with about 3 or 4 other brands. The reason why you don't hear about it from those 3 or 4 other brands is because in some cases they switch vendors, and in some cases they catch it really quickly and send out a recall. Okay, we have to remember Brinkley RV is independently owned by folks, or a lot of folks, that are, how do I put this? that a lot of the owners are more of investors than they are RV manufacturing folks. So unlike, let's say, Northwood Manufacturing or Genesis Supreme or Alliance RV, the guys that own, a lot of the guys that own Brinkley RV have a history of pump and dump, is the only real phrase I can give you. Start a company, pump it up over a 3 to 5 year period, and then dump it off for maximum value. So these are not guys that are going to make a company stick around. Their history says that really they're going to end up selling Brinkley off once they're able to and make a bunch of money. And high five to them. I'm all for that. Okay, if that's your business model, that's what you want to do, go for it. Unlike other privately owned companies who are a little more snap to it because it could bury them. Modern Buggy, perfect example. Modern Buggy is a company owned as privately owned, and the owner basically says, if I don't overbuild my trailers and they start coming back, I'm out of business. So it's just one of those situations, right? We have to just pay attention to that. Moving forward, Brinkley RV is having and has announced that they are having a massive problem with the front part of their trailer, the front part of their fifth wheels cracking. Okay. The fact of the matter is this is not a matter of frame failure / frame flex. There's a lot of YouTubers out there that are misconstruing what this really is. Okay. Frame failure / frame flex is more of the the basics of it, besides the frame failing like it did with Grand Design and a lot of Grand Design fifth wheels over 35 feet, is you started seeing the walls separate from the floor and the floor separate from the chassis and the wall separate from the chassis. So there was a lot of, like, you could see daylight, you could see cabinets coming down. This is more of a stress crack. It's almost as if the wall that they're building is too stiff and doesn't have enough flex to relieve the stress of it. So imagine a 9.0 earthquake inside a fifth wheel. It's just bam, 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 bam. I use friggin' like a, okay? You have to have some flex inside that sidewall, inside that chassis, that helps alleviate the pressure. Otherwise, you get that cracking. It's not in a heat. So Brinkley RV is underscoring this, saying it's an adhesive issue. And then there are YouTubers out there that are blowing out of proportion, saying that it's frame failure. So if it was frame failure, if it was frame flex / frame failure, then we would see Grand Design RV having 2025 frame problems like they did for the last 10 years prior. At least that's what we figured out since it all came to light. Okay? Because Grand Design RV switched to a pretty much a copycat frame of Brinkley RV. They pretty much are using the exact same Lippert frame. So if Grand Design for 2025 year model is not showing the frame failure / frame flex that we've seen in the past, then that means Brinkley RV isn't showing that portion of that problem either. So that's the logic behind it, but I'll let you decide. Okay. Now, what concerns me is YouTubers like Miles RV, that's MYLES RV, not RV Miles, because Jason's awesome. Jason and his wife are awesome. YouTubers like Miles I'm starting to notice that YouTubers like him are not just coming into the comment section of my videos on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and the podcast and YouTube, but they're going into other people's videos that mention anything about Brinkley RV in a negative light, and basically talking about how the drawers are made. Now, I'm being a little exaggerated with that, but that's the reality of it. Like, one comment that Miles left was, oh, but they do something with drawers that no other manufacturer does. Even though the sidewall is cracking, even though they're having major braking issues, let's look past all that. They're a top-tier manufacturer, even with all the problems that they're having, because they make the perfect drawer. Think about that for a second. So we're going to judge a manufacturer not by its structural integrity, but by how they build a drawer. And if you don't believe me, I'm more than happy to screenshot the comment and email it to anybody. He literally put that in my comments, or somebody that runs his TikTok channel put that in my comments. But that's not what I'm upset about. What I'm worried about is if salespeople like Miles RV, and it's not just him, he's just an easy example because he's a large content creator. There's probably 12, 15 other corporate RV dealership YouTubers. These are people that work for a large corporation that have a thumb called a marketing and legal department on what they can and can't do with their content. These are people that are paid large sums of money, rumored to be paid large sums of money by manufacturers on the backside of things. We're not talking about $500. We're talking about, in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And yet we're deflecting a problem that Brinkley RV has made public. That's what I want to give credit to Brinkley RV for. Brinkley RV has made this public and is working towards a resolution. So why are the salespeople climbing into comments, climbing into people's emails, climbing into people's DMs, and saying the stupidest things that you could possibly say? What are they scared of? I'm pretty confident myself, and I'm not a fan of Brinkley RV. I am far from it. I think they're overpriced, over-exaggerated, put on a pedestal that they don't deserve. But I want to give them credit, because credit a manufacturer that after the whole Grand Design RV frame problem debacle, the way they gaslit their customers, the way they treated their customers, the way they treated the general public as if they were all idiots, credit Brinkley RV for trying to basically take the other route, which is transparency. Now, Nate Goldberg, you know, his job is basically to deflect that this is not a major problem, it's just an adhesive problem. If it was just an adhesive problem, it would not be at the scale it's at. This is not a scale of one run. This is a scale of a large problem that Brinkley RV has sought outside help for. I'm confident. Here's how confident I am. I'm confident that if you are a Brinkley RV customer and you're witnessing, you got a small crack in the fiberglass towards the front of your trailer, your toy hauler, your fifth wheel, etc. I am so confident that Brinkley RV will not gaslight you, will treat you good, and figure out a way to help you. And the sooner you catch it, the easier it will be for Brinkley to fix it. I'm confident that they're going to do it. Now, they may have ulterior motives besides taking care of their customer. That's not what this live stream is about. I don't even talk about it in the podcast. You can guess on your own what their ulterior motive is, but who cares what their ulterior motive is? They're taking care of the situation. And I bet you by year model 2026, that's not next year, that's only a few months away, they will have figured out what went wrong and what they're going to do different. Guarantee you, they will figure it out. I guarantee you it's at the top of their list. Guarantee you. So why are these knucklehead YouTubers going into some of my buddies' DMs on Facebook and basically trying to crap them out and make them feel like it's their imagination that these cracks that are going on with Brinkley RV's fiberglass doesn't exist? It's a rumor. Oh, they build the perfect drawer, so ignore structural integrity. Now, if Brinkley RV is instructing them to do this, that would surprise me. Because you don't go public and basically encourage owners to step forward and talk to them about the problem. You don't encourage that in Facebook groups, emails, Reddit posts, Quora posts. You don't encourage your own customers publicly on social media to basically come out and talk to them if they're experiencing these cracks, and then turn around and tell your marketing people to gaslight everybody that talks about it. So what is Miles RV and these other YouTubers, these other corporate RV dealership YouTubers, what are they afraid of? What do they know that we don't? Or are they being instructed by their corporation? Are they being instructed by their dealership? Is this being handed down from above Miles RV and above the other 10 RV dealership YouTubers, corporate RV dealership YouTubers? Are they being handed down this, saying, squash this now? We're losing sales. We're losing Brinkley sales. They're sitting on the lot too long. Go squash this. Is that what's going on? Is that the possibility? Makes me wonder. Because here's the thing. I thought about this. I was all angry and bitter about it for a couple days because, number one, I've been sick. And number two, I felt like Dr. Dre. You know, I felt like everybody's trying to turn me back into the old me. And yes, I am back to the old me, but then again with a mixture of the new me. A little more of, okay, let's try to figure this out for a moment. Forest River, and I pick on Forest River a lot in my podcast and here on the channel. I pick on them because it's real easy to pick on them sometimes, because realistically, it's always Forest River Thor, Forest River Thor, Forest River Thor as largest towable manufacturer. Okay? Always goes back and forth. So Forest River is easy for me to pick on because there's so many Thor brands. It's easy to just say Forest River. When I do a negative video, and I'm going to mention this because and the XLR GM can chew me out later for this, okay? And if the boys at the corporate office want to chew me out for this, they can chew me out for this too, because usually I don't talk about who I talk to. But this is an example, okay? And I talk to more people than this. But I did a video on my bottom 5 toy haulers for 2025. And the biggest thing I put on there was Shockwave, Sandstorm, and Stealth toy haulers. And it was at a time when Forest River decided to shut down or begin shutting down West Coast production, starting with the 2 California plants in Rialto and Hemet in Southern California, respectively. And one of the things that I mentioned in that video is my fear of them shutting down those plants is those toy haulers will go to hell. And the reason why is the production gets moved back to Indiana, and now you're going to lose out on, basically you're going to lose out on all the stuff going on the West Coast as far as how big the side-by-sides are getting, or, you know, etc. Okay. 2 days after I released the video, this was last year, late last year, 2 days after I released that video, I got an email and a phone call. Now, I couldn't take the phone call at the time, so I didn't physically get to talk to him, but I got a nice, big, wonderful email from the general manager / product manager of XLR that's taking over and having Sandstorm Stealth and Shockwave built in his plant. And at least that's what I understood. I could be wrong about that. Anyway, the email was, I understand where you're coming. Basically, a short version of, I understand where you're coming from. I understand your concern. We're having this, and this idea. Basically, he made me feel like, okay, let's see what they come out with. And I'm starting to see some of that stuff arrive at different dealerships, and I'm going to go look at them and go see if my fears are put to rest. It wasn't gaslighting me. It wasn't treating me like I'm a bug that needs to be flicked. It wasn't trying to come into my comments and pretend like nothing's wrong in the world and everything's sunshine and rainbows. It was simply put basically a business-to-business email saying, hey, we know you have concerns. This is what we're changing. Now, there are 9 other brands besides them who have reached out to me when I speak negatively about their product. None of them came in to gaslight me. None of them came in to tell me I'm wrong. Nobody from Lippert has ever came in to call me and tell me I'm full of crap. Never have I had any of that happen. Except for when we talk about Grand Design or talk now about Brinkley. Except Brinkley, give them credit. They did what they needed to do. But their people, and I know it's not their direct people, but they're psychologically, what are you thinking going after a guy that does his podcast out of his car, lives out of a suitcase, has no money, and nothing to lose? What are you thinking? Do you think that I'm simply going to go away and bow out? Do you think that people will stop listening and watching my videos or my channel or my podcast because you've decided that you're going to be in my DMs or in my comments and saying the stupidest things you possibly could say? And if Miles RV's boss and the other corporate RV YouTubers that have been in my comments, other YouTubers' comments, other creators' comments, we've talked about it, some of us. If your bosses are telling you to do this, I have a message for your bosses. Not the manufacturer, not Brinkley. This would be for the boss that's instructing you guys to do this. Really? Do you know my history? Do you know I have the worst attitude on God's green earth? And that when the old me comes out, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people watch me when I go nuclear? That wasn't good for Grand Design. It wasn't good for Gulfstream. It wasn't good for Nexus RV. Do you really think that it's good for your brand, your YouTuber's brand, and the brand you represent, the OEM you represent on the dealership lot, that's actually doing the right thing? Do you really, really think that it's smart that I've been playing it straight down the middle and fair with Brinkley because they deserve it? Do you really think sending your YouTubers after me is going to make me stop? It's going to make me double down. It's going to make me think the problem is bigger than what's been represented. It's going to make me wonder, what do you know that I don't? And then I'm going to start digging. And if I start finding skeletons in the closet, that ain't going to be pretty for your company or the manufacturer or the OEM or even your YouTuber. So not only are you risking your YouTuber subscriber base and their livelihood, but you're risking exposure to something that maybe isn't even there, but you're going to make me dig. And when I dig, I might not find something wrong with Brinkley, but I might find something wrong with the YouTuber or the dealership or whatever the case may be. So let's come to an agreement here. You guys as corporate RV dealership YouTubers, and there are a couple of exceptions, and I'm not going to mention them right now, but here's what I'm going to say. Stay out of my way. I'll stay out of yours. Let me be me and do what I do, because what I do has resulted in a lot of people buying RVs, including Grand Design fifth wheels. There are people, even though I absolutely was a domestic you-know-what and a big pain in the you-know-what to Grand Design RV, there were still a lot of people that watched this channel and watched and listened to my podcast and still went and bought a Grand Design Momentum or Grand Design Solitude. And specifically told me in an email, the only reason why we bought one is because the information you shared in your podcast, it wasn't over super exaggerated. It wasn't everything's the sky's falling, and now we know what the risks are. And every one of them said they made a third-party person come out and do the frame flex and frame failure test before they took it home. When Coachman Catalina was having all its recall problems, I exposed it, and I sell Catalina, or at least used to sell Catalinas. At the time, when I was exposing all the problems with Coachman Catalina that was going on from 2022 to early 2024 year model, oh my God. I mean, people are like, wait, don't you sell that product? Yeah. I am not afraid to put the hammer down on something I sell if they deserve it. Does it mean Coachman Catalina stopped selling across the United States? No. Several people, including people that bought them from me, said, thank you for letting us know what we need to look for. We now know there's going to be a bunch of recalls, and it's not going to surprise us. But we really love this 164. We really love this 263. We fell in love with this 303, whatever they got. People love transparency in the RV industry. They love it. How do you think Josh the RV Nerd grew his channel so big? He didn't grow his channel so big originally because, gosh darn it, everything's perfect. Nothing's wrong with anything. No, he grew it on transparency. He grew it because he was an independent content creator working at a family location, and if something was wrong with a Jayco, which was his family's big thing, he talked about it. No problem talking about it. No problem exposing what was going on at Jayco when something went wrong at Jayco. Does it mean his family dealership stopped selling Jaycos, that people stopped showing up to buy them across the United States? No. Probably was more encouraging because their homework was done. Oh, okay, now we know to look for this. Now we know we look for that. Hey, we're not going to live in the unit, so obviously it's not going to affect us as much. Or, hey, we're going to keep it in one spot. We're never going to move it. It's going to be like a second home on the lake. So all those problems of moving it around and brake systems and stuff doesn't affect us. Wake up. Seriously. I don't care if you're the second largest corporation in the United States for RV sales. Get over yourself. If you're the one sending these guys after me, you're going to lose. You are not going to win. Number one, I have a lot of hidden allies. They're not friends, and a lot of times they're very unhappy with me because I expose shit that really people in my industry don't expose. But I have a lot of allies watching my back. And they are high up in the executive level of all parts of the RV industry. Manufacturing, vending, lending, etc. And they don't tell people publicly that they're a fan. They don't tell people publicly that they got my back. But they got my back. So leave it alone. Get your little chihuahua out of my DMs. Get your little kitty cats and your little mice out of my DMs, out of my email, out of my comment section. Because if it continues, I'm going to start going into your comments of their videos, and I'm going to start going and bashing everything you sell. Keep them out, and we'll be good. That's all I have for tonight. Until next time, remember RV stands for toolkit and sense of humor. Have a good one.